Hey there. In today's video, I'm going to be covering the step-by-step process to build out a marketing funnel. Now, this is going to be exactly what we're doing to generate qualified leads in 2025 and going into 2026. This is the tried and true methods that we're using to generate multiple meetings per day, 5 net new clients per month for our customers. And this is a funnel that's working for lots of different niches. If you're in senior living, business loan leads, or simply if you're just running any kind of paid media, this is going to be relevant for you. So let's dive into what this actual funnel looks like, and then we're going to just talk about every step of the way, right? So this is the funnel that we're building right now, right? You're going to be starting with an ad, and the ad is going to be run on Meta. And so on Meta, you're going to be running either video ads or you're going to be running static ads. It's recommended that you're running a mix and typically going more towards video ads. Now, with the current updates, Andromeda is what it's been called by Facebook. It's requiring a substantial amount of creative to test. And what substantial means is, you're no longer able to just test 1 or 2 hooks and see what works. You have to test a lot of different creatives. So that's going to be anywhere from 5 to 10, upwards of 25 and 30 new angles for your offer. And so what are different angles? Those are just going to be different value propositions, different ways to present what it is that you're offering to your customer. It's going to have to be different messaging copy, and that messaging copy is what is really going to impact the targeting in this funnel. Now, once you've built out your ads, they're going to be sent to a landing page, and that landing page is typically going to be focused on a single offer in the form of a headline. There we go. And usually it's going to have some kind of a VSL. And so a VSL is a video sales letter. They can be anywhere from 1 minute long. Oftentimes it's 5 to 10 minutes long, but it can also be upwards of 30 minutes. It really depends on what it is you're selling and your offer, but generally we're seeing, our VSLs are going to be between 5 and 10 minutes. Once they've clicked on the ad, they've got on your landing page. And so they see your headline, which is your offer, which is the result that they're expected to get. You have your video sales letter, which is a sales letter just in video form. It's a pretty classic model, and it just gives the context of every single thing that the lead needs to know in order to make the decision. So what it is they can expect, context on the process, each step, some social proof about you, answering some key questions or FAQs, and then a call to action. And so that's usually what's going to be included in the VSL. And then you're either going to be pushing them to a form or call it a book a call button, right? So you click that button, and on that button, it's going to be taking you to a form, which will be qualifying the lead, right? So you're going to have a question 1, question 2, question 3, question 4, and question 5, right? You can have upwards of 20 questions or more. The key thing here is it just needs to be relevant to your customer. You need to be asking questions that will basically qualify or disqualify the lead, right? If you talk to your sales team, what are the 5 things that they really need in order for the buyer to be qualified? And so those are the questions that you want to include on your form, right? So they answer all 5 of those questions. If they answer them well, great. They'll move through to the next stage. If they don't answer them well, then they'll be kicked. And they'll be sent to a no thank you page, basically saying, hey, thanks, but no thanks. And you can see if we go back to our funnel here, that's going to be getting them sent to this unqualified side right here. All right. And then in some cases, you might have a downsell this is where you can include that. But, assuming, they've been qualified with our questions, they've then made it to the next page. And so on that next page, it's going to be our book a call. So this will be like Calendly. On the Calendly, you include a bunch of times, and you then allow the lead to book in. They put their email, their phone number, and whatever else you need. Typically, you'll already have gotten that from your form. And so if you're using something like Typeform and you're using Calendly, you can automatically embed some of the answers that they have answered in their Typeform into the Calendly. So ultimately, they book in, they get sent to a thank you page. It says thank you on it. It gives them some key steps, next steps, which is, hey, watch a video. Usually that includes some kind of context where you are providing the lead with more information so they can make a good decision, right? They are given a specific recommendation around, hey, how to actually make sure you show up to the meeting. So if you're doing it on Zoom or you're doing it in person or it's a phone call, just make sure that those directions are very, very specific. You want to include, I like to call them FAQ videos. You have FAQ video 1, FAQ video 2, and FAQ video 3. And so those are going to be your top 3 FAQs that your prospects are typically asking on calls. And so when they're going through this thank you page, you're able to preempt those objections. And as a result, you are framing your call more towards, handling those objections. So when they hop on the call, they're no longer going to be, what am I doing here? What am I learning about? Why am I even hopping on this with you in the first place? But instead, they'll have context and have all those answers for their main questions already. So that's going to be on a thank you page. That then leads us to our flows, right? So if you look at this funnel, right, we've made it all the way through here. So they got to the thank you page. You have the pre-call flow now. And so this is going to be a pretty well thought out 18 email flow. And so this is going over a max of 3 days. And so what happens here is once that meeting is booked, you want to send them all these emails in day one, right? 6 emails in day one. So that means an email every 4 hours, and you're covering their main pain points, right? And so when it comes to the pain points, again, those are their big frequently asked questions. What are the things that are most commonly coming up on your sales calls? And so that's what you're going to be handling in these objection handling emails here. Then you'll transition more into like differentiators. So this is simply, what is your process? Why is it different? What are they used to? Are they using referral sites? Are they using some other type of lead source? And if they are, then you're already going to be saying, hey, this is why we're better. Now you want to give more context into the process. And so this is just sharing, hey, this is what happens on day 1, day 2, day 3. This is onboarding. This is how quick until you get results. And so this is really just spoon feeding the lead all the information that they need before they ever hop on the call. Because, high-level business owners, directors, VPs, CEOs, they're all very busy in their day-to-day. And so they want to be able to do their research on their own time. They want to be able to self-select on the things that they care about most. And so that's why you send them a bunch of different emails. They'll be able to pick and choose what is important to them. And then in the last few emails, you're just given, hey, we can do what we say we can do by, this proof, client result 1, client result 2, client result 3, client result 4, and then, hey, final call to action. Hey, before the call, take a look at this last case study. And then you have the call. So at that point, they've gotten 18 email touches from you. They've seen your thank you videos. They've seen your VSL. They've seen your ads. They've seen your landing page. They've seen all that context information. And if you've done it correctly, it's all properly aligned in terms of the messaging. And so when they hop on the call, there's going to be less friction there. And so, ideally you should be closing 20 to 30% of those deals, right? So you have that call, right? You run your sales call, and then from there you put them into a follow-up flow. So these are basically your marketing emails, giving all the context. And so then these are follow-up emails that will be sent after the call, because if somebody didn't pay in full on the call, that's okay. You then want to make sure that you're really dialing your follow-ups. And so these sound like sales emails. Hey, referencing the call. Hey, on the call you were curious about this pain or this process or this thing, and then you get to play that all out here. And so this is over 24 emails, and it goes over 95 days. So that's about 3 months or a full business quarter. And so you can see here, right, you have your best case study, client transformation, you have industry insights. Again, you're handling FAQs, another success story, more insights, frameworks, testimonials, more value, right? These are very value dense emails. And the goal with these is, again, just staying front of mind. And you're saying a lot of the same things in not so many different ways, but that's ultimately what sales and marketing is it's you have your business, which is either a service or a product, and it solves a series of problems. And so, you're just continuing to reiterate that value to your potential customer until they actually buy, right? And so that's what we're doing with these flows. And so, ideally you do it correctly. They make it through. You've done your appointment setting. They've actually showed up to the call. They've gotten their follow-ups, and then you close the deal, right? So that's how it works in a very brief, quick nutshell. But let's talk about actually how to audit these steps here, right? So the first step in the funnel is your ad creatives. So if you have a click-through rate of 1 to 5%, that means that 1 to 5% of your ads get clicked through to your landing page. You're on the right track. This is just signaling to Facebook that people like what your ad is saying, and so that just makes your cost go down. The next metric you want to be looking at is your cost per click. And so if your cost per click is over $10, that means that your ad creative's no good. It needs more work, and you need to rework your offer, and you just need to improve that front end part of your funnel. All right, so assuming your click-through rate's okay and your cost per click is okay, then you want to be thinking about, all right, now they're on the landing page, how are we going to convert there? And so usually it's, hey, look at the form or the VSL completion. And so in some cases you have one or the other, but just assume you have both. For VSL, it's, hey, they have a full video. How long are they watching it? Are they watching the whole thing? Are they even clicking on it? And if they're not clicking on it, that means you need a better thumbnail. How long are they watching it? If it drops off very quickly, it's obviously going to be a challenge in getting them to understand really the full value there. So you need to rework your hook if it's a fast drop off, or if it's a mid drop off, you need to fix some of the content inside of it. And then for the form, right? If they've clicked through to the form and they are not completing it, couple things. One, you might not have a clear enough offer. Again, you might not have enough social proof on your page in the first place. But if they're actually getting into the form, but they're not making it through, couple things. If they're not qualified and they're not getting through, that's fine. That's exactly what you're looking for, and that's what you want. But if they are just not finishing the form, then that means that simply the questions aren't good enough, right? And so you just need to fix the form. You need to fix the questions. You need to make sure that you're asking very relevant, dialed-in questions. So assuming they've made it through and are able to start booking a call. Now, in this book a call step, we assume a 10% book a call rate. So that means that, 10% of the people who have, landed on your landing page and made it through your form and watched the VSL should actually book the call. And so again, this means that if they're not booking, you need more social proof, you need a clearer offer, you need more information on your process and what it is you do. And so this is a really key metric to look for in this middle part of the funnel, right? So from there, they've booked a call. Now it's time to take a look at the attendance rate or the show rate. And so assuming you're doing this at scale, you should be targeting an 80% show up rate. Now, 80% is going to be benchmark. It can be better. In some cases, it's just going to be, lower than that, but you want to shoot for the 80% before you've really dialed in your funnel. And so this indicates that you need a better pre-call process if you're not achieving this benchmark. And that usually means you need better appointment setting. You need to get back to the lead more quickly. You need to send some manual follow-up touches, send them some videos, just get them to trust you a little bit more, and just have a better process overall. Improve your pre-call flows, improve your thank you page, have more retargeting ads, and just more proof, right? So that's where you want to be in terms of the call showed. And then the last one here is your close rate. So, if you're closing at a 20% rate, good, you're always going to want to improve that. If it's too high, then it means your price is too low. And so, 20 to 30% usually means that at scale means your pricing is where it needs to be. But if that's not the case, then that means you need to improve your script. It means you need to improve your objection handling, your closing process. And so these are really the key metrics that you should be looking at inside of this funnel that I just shared with you guys in order to really achieve, consistent and measurable growth. And again, right, this is pretty simple. It doesn't look like the most complex funnel in the world, and it's not. It really is just focused on controlling the buyer journey and just giving them all of the information that they need up front, right? If you have an opaque and an unclear system, then that's going to really just turn buyers off, especially when there's so many options out there and you're running paid ads, running ads to a cold audience. There's a massively low level of trust there. And so as a result, you want to really just take control of the process, take control of the frame, and really just blow them away with a really dialed in and clean sales process and funnel. If you can build out your funnel like this, then great. You're going to be able to consistently generate qualified calls and convert those into customers like our customers are doing right now. If this looks complex for you and you want some help building this out, then go to the link in the description below, book a call with me. I'll personally hop on with you, talk through the process, see if there's a fit, and we can build this out so we can help you generate some qualified leads that actually turn into revenue. But that's it for this video. I'll talk to you in the next one.